Well, happy Sabbath, everyone. You hear me? Yeah. And welcome again. It's nice to be back here in the house of the Lord. I have been away for a while, but it's good to see your smiley faces. And we have some new folks, so welcome. Welcome. Or maybe new to me. I probably haven't seen them. They've been here a while, but welcome. So today's class we're gonna do a high-level walkthrough of sprouting and microgreens. I don't have every sprout and every microgreen here, but this should give you a little insight into what you can do right in your own kitchen on your countertops. I have all this stuff here because that's what I do. I sprout a lot. I have trays, like racks in my kitchen, or wherever I can stick it in my house. I have it on wheels, so it's about 5 or 6 shelves. And I have one rack full of what am I thinking? Sunflower sprouts, wheatgrass, and I have different kinds of microgreens growing in my house. And anybody here sprouts, does microgreens? Anybody? No? Nobody does? Well, I'll tell you, my friends, growing these things in your house is just amazing. Does anybody doesn't know what microgreens are? Let me ask the question first. Everybody knows what microgreens are? Okay. So growing these things and you see them in the grocery store? You don't know what microgreens are? Okay. So let me go over here first. So these are what you call microgreens, and they're different kinds. They're the baby, you go to the grocery store and you see kale and you see all these mature vegetables. They start from seed. So they start with the seed and then they grow into these little baby shoots here. And these are what we call microgreens. So this is sunflower, this is pea shoots, this is sunflower as well. And I have, I'm gonna show you how to do some wheatgrass as well. And there are different kinds. Every vegetable starts off from seed. And then the ones that you can eat as a vegetable, every seed you can eat, you can grow them as a microgreen and harvest them within 7 to 14 days and incorporate them into your diet. So why we want to eat things that are babies? Well, they have a lot of nutrients in them to grow into an adult plant. As they get older, they lose their nutritional value. So with that said, when they're babies, they're more nutritious than the mature plant in the store. Because every one of them can help with some particular ailment. They're like super nutrition. It's very condensed. Like these have a balanced source of amino acids, so they're full, complete protein. These sunflower seeds, as well as the pea sprouts, as well as the wheatgrass, and they're high in chlorophyll, high in vitamin A, C. Bees as well. So they're very nutritious. And if you make a habit of having these in your diet every day, you can typically replace, if you take all these vitamins and stuff, you could probably replace it, but you have to be consistent. Don't throw out your vitamins and supplements and say, I'm going to do this once a month or something like that. You'll be defeating the purpose. But you can make juices with them, salads with them, soups with them, wraps, put them in your wraps, your sandwiches. And the benefit is they're organic. Nobody sprayed anything on them but you. And it's farm to table? It's a kitchen top to table, right? You just have to come here and cut them and put them on your plate and have a salad. So, and these are just a few, there's so many. And they're very therapeutic. Like the broccoli ones, they used for cancer. Even the wheatgrass juice is very high in anti-cancerous properties that you can use for cancer. Actually, I was doing some research on something else this week, and there's so many clinical studies on wheatgrass juice. You're seeing benefits for cancer patients, for inflammation, for diabetes as well, right? So it doesn't taste like chocolate. It doesn't taste like ice cream. There's something we call the wheatgrass shakes, right? When you drink it, you go like this because it just doesn't taste good. But after a while, you would love it because when you think about the benefits, then you know, like whatever it is, like you just chuck it down. All right, so typically when we do wheatgrass, you only need like about 2 ounces of wheatgrass juice to get the benefits. If you're doing it therapeutically, you probably want to do 2 ounces 2 to 3 times a day. If you're working on a particular ailment. Now, I learned about this many years ago in, where was I? Puerto Rico. In Puerto Rico. And then in the US, I went to Hippocrates, and that's what they do in the US. It's the mainstay of the diet is wheatgrass and sprouts because of the therapeutic benefit that comes from wheatgrass juice and just sprouting, right? So you hear people say sprouting, and you hear people say microgreens. Well, sprouts is when so these are sprouts. They haven't really gone into the soil as yet. And then when you put them in the soil and they start growing like this, these are what they call the microgreens, okay? There are some things that you can eat as sprouts, like lentils, sprouted nuts and seeds. Some people do black beans. Some people do different kind of seeds that you can eat without having to grow them into grasses. So as you learn more, you'll figure out which ones you can eat, like sprouts, and which ones you want to grow into a microgreen and just cut the greens and enjoy them. All right, so that's kind of, in a nutshell, what those microgreens are. And why you need it. But as I go through and I remember stuff, I'll share with you. Okay. So now we know what microgreens are. How do we grow them? How do we factor them in our lives and make them part of our lifestyle if that's what you want to do? You have to invest in them, right? So invest in the things you need to grow these microgreens. So over the years, I've accumulated a lot of stuff, and I have more stuff than this at home. But I just brought some of my kitchen to share with you. So you would need seeds, right, to start your sprouting. And here I have organic wheat berries. And if you have do you know what wheat berries are? Okay, so I'll share. Put some here. You want to get good seeds. We can pass these around. These are the wheat berries. Somebody could pass it around if they want to walk it around. And these are sunflower seeds. Somebody could walk that around. And I'll just leave these in a bag. Please don't make the bag grow legs and walk out the door. These are pea sprouts. Okay, so, and these are, you can pass this around, some of the seeds. So these are just a few. And I chose these because these are the power horses. If you never grow anything else or buy any other seed, you want to get these, and you could, did I do wheat berry? Yeah. And then you can do broccoli sprouts, alfalfa sprouts, all those little smaller seeds. And those are done a little differently. They are grown in jars with water and all of that. But we're not doing those today. We're doing the bigger ones. So you need seeds. You need good growing seeds. Organic seeds, seeds that haven't been sprayed, irradiated, cooked, pure, raw, organic seeds. And if you can find them with the intention of sprouting, sometimes they say that on the packet, then get those. Now, sometimes seeds don't last forever. They expire. And so if you're buying from a company, you want to make sure they're a reputable company and they're giving you seeds that are good, you know, not like 2-year-old seeds or something like that. I believe the wheat berries, they only last 6 months up in the room temperature, and these two, they don't last long in room temperature. So I store mine in the refrigerator. I probably have some old ones. I think those sunflower ones are old, I think. But I think I got these from Azores. Anyway, so find good companies like Azores. I get Hippocrates is another one I get my seeds from. And I also have, let's see here. I get my seeds from another place. I get on Amazon as well. So I read up I read up on the supplier. I didn't write that down. But if you're having trouble, GoSeeds.com is one. Amazon and Jaffe Brothers, I think. I get seeds from those different companies. All right, so those are your seeds that you need, right? To start your project off. You don't need to do all at one time. Choose one, master it, and then if you're good with that one, then you buy another kind of seed. Okay, any questions on seeds? Nope? Okay, another thing I want to say with the seeds, when you're starting the seeds and you're measuring out your seeds to grow, the first step is to clean your seeds. If you don't clean your seeds and you have pieces in there, those can cause mold in your tray. So, and it could spoil all the rest of the seeds, your whole set. So you want to make sure you take the broken ones out before you start putting them down into your soil. All right, so that's on seeds. Okay, the next thing you probably want to get would be some jars. I love mason jars. I have a ton of them. I have like maybe hundreds of mason jars. I just buy them when they're on sale. I get the mason jars because you will want to soak your seeds in mason jars. And you don't have to get mason jars. You can get old ketchup containers or whatever glass jar you have left over from something that you cooked in. But why I like the mason jars, your measurements on there. And why you need a wide mouth jar, because if the seeds start swelling up, they wouldn't come out of a narrow mouth jar. So I get a lot of jars. I have those. And if you're traveling like me, when I travel for work a lot, I walk with bags. I mean, I was doing this thing serious. Like, so I walk with these bags, and I would have a hanger in the hotel room, and I would put my seeds in here, and I would get a little bowl from if I can get a bowl, fill it with water, or sometimes I would walk with a glass jar in my suitcase, and fill it with water, and you just put your seed in that to soak. And then you rinse it right there. So the seeds are not all over the place, they're still in the bag, and so rinse them until they run clear, or soak them how long you're supposed to soak them. And then I'll hang this on a hotel hanger in the bathroom, and then my seeds will sprout. So I'll do lentils, things that I can eat on a salad and things like that. Not these, because I can't do all that in the hotel room. But like lentils, any kind of beans that I would walk with, that would sprout. So that's why you have these bags. And you can even use them in your house as well. They keep the seeds together, very organized. You know, it takes away from having to put the seeds in the jar and throw them out. Some fall in the sink and all of that kind of stuff. All right. So you have jars, you have your bags in case you want. And then now you need to cover your jars to make sure the seeds don't fall out when you put the water in here and the seeds in here. So here are some ideas. Inexpensive. When you buy the jars, the mason jars, they come with covers like these. Right? They come with covers. You know. But these covers, they rust. They don't last long, so I don't use them much at all. I buy these when I make any like a cheese or anything like that. I use these instead. So I have these hanging around. What can I do with them? I take the center out, and I use this, and I go to the Home Depot or somewhere, and I buy a whole reel of, I forget what they call it, mesh. And you can cut them into squares. And then you could just cover the jars. So if you don't have a jar with a cover and you want to use it for sprouting, this is a good way. And you tighten it in there to do it with the cover. Or when I go to the grocery store, you know that you get the cilantro in a bundle, or the vegetable, you get all these bands. You get all of these. I save them. You know how much stuff I have in my kitchen, right? I save them, and you can just put them over here, and it's very inexpensive. You don't have to buy anything. And then I went to a wedding, and they had all these beautiful things, and I'm like, oh my God, they're going to throw this away after one use? I took it. And you can cut them in squares, and you can put them over your jar. Cheap, right? I didn't even buy anything. So just being creative and keeping your eyes open for deals like that. Yeah, deals. The free deals. And, all these can use to hold stuff, right? You can all. And this as well, you can put it here, and you can tie it around there. It can do things. So I save it. Even in your garden, when you do garden, you have to tie the plant that vines, and you want to keep it to the stake. Use these, so you save your stuff. Okay. All right. Another thing that you can buy also, they sell these in a pack. Mesh. They're wire meshes. Well, they're not wire, they're steel, actually. They're very sharp, so be careful. So another thing you can do, when you take out that, they fit perfectly in the jar. Put them over here, and you get that. You need these so that air can flow through, and when you rinse the seeds, you can drain them, all right? So those are the things. Okay, now for those who have lots of money and drive the expensive cars and want to go shopping, you can buy these. You get them in a pack for, I can't remember what the price is now, but you can buy these fancy things here. You want to be really fancy in your kitchen. You get these in a pack. Different size holes, different seeds. Like if you're doing like sesame seeds, you use these smaller ones. These you can do with these bigger ones, bigger seeds. Your sunflower seeds will slip right through. Will go through there. Your wheat berries will probably go through as well. So you just need to choose the cover you want to use. Okay, so those are some ideas into things that you would use as covers for your jars when you put your seeds in them. All right, and I have this here as well. So let's see, maybe you put your seeds in a small jar, and you're doing sesame seeds or something. And sometimes seeds go everywhere. You can put this here and pour your seeds in to keep everything together from sprouting or going all over the place. All right, so we have that. All right. Now, if you're very organized and you like rules and regulations, and they tell you to get 5 cups and 2 cups, and you want to know the exact measurement, you can get something like this. It's a sprouting chart. It has every seed you can think about in it. I don't know if this is still available for sale. The guy who had this passed away, and I got this when I went to school in California. That's many, 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 many years ago. I don't even use it really, but I put it in my fridge there, and it helps when I have class like this. I can show. But you can look it out. The company is called the Sprout Man. I don't know if they're still around, but it tells you like alfalfa, pea, kale, rye, mustard seed, sprout, clover, wheat, peanuts, sunflower, everything it tells you. And then you can spin this little thing, and then it will tell you, okay, is it a delicate seed? Yes. How does this taste like? What the taste is, if it's strong or not. It tells you how much to soak, 5 tablespoons. It gives you the measurement. It tells you what's the best method of soaking it, if it's a jar or a tray or a cup. It also tells you, is it a beginner level? Some seeds you need to have some advanced, I don't say advanced training, be matured in doing sprouting. So it will tell you if this is something a beginner wants to do, if something an advanced person should do. And then it tells you when it's nutritious, the variety, different things. So if you want to get that, it's available. And then it has a few recipes behind here to do with seeds. Like sprouted bread, sprouted wheat berry bread, bread recipe. I've never tried it, but if somebody wants to do it, they can do it. Let me know. All right, so this, I don't know if anybody wants to see it. You can pass around, take a look. What it is, take a picture. Maybe you can see if you find it online, and stick it on your refrigerator. All right, so those are the things that keep moving. So you can have that. And you can set up, so when I went to school in California, this is serious sprouting thing. They told us to get a house outside, you know those little garden houses? Tile the floor, put your racks in there, because this is a way of eating. Tile the floor, put your racks in there, put a tap in there, and that's where you're gonna have your sprout house. So a whole house, like a whole house, you know, the garden house, the outside houses. You dedicated for doing sprouting. But I never did it because I always think I'm moving so much time, somebody else could benefit from it. So I've never done it. I always convert some room in my house for that. But if you're serious about sprouting, you want to do that. You can do that. All right, so what else do we need? So we have the seeds. We have the jars. We know what jars we're going to get. We know we're going to cover the jars. You want to make sure you have good water. We're not using tap water. You want to use filtered water or rainwater. This is rainwater. You can buy a designated filter, like a jar, and you can pour your rainwater through that too, and keep it in your kitchen, and that would be dedicated for your sprouts. It will be filtered. You don't want to have chlorine in your water or anything like that. You just want pure, clean, filtered water. So you have your water. All right, so what else do you need for your sprouts? You need to have trays. So you have trays. This is a, who knows math, 20 by 20? Nobody? Okay, I think it's 20 by 20. What do you think? Is it 20 by 20? Something like that, yeah. Now, these are not widely available, and I didn't start with these for my however long I was doing sprouts. These are the ones I used. These are $1 something. But as I went along on my journey, I figured out they don't last long. They're feeble. Look, they tear quickly. And every time I sprout, I have to go buy new ones. Because and I sprout a lot, and I wasn't working. And then one day I went in the back, in one of those programs I went to see exactly where they do all these sprouts, and I saw them with these trays. These are sturdy. They're a little bit more expensive, but they're sturdy, and I don't have to buy trays all the time. So I have these. And there are smaller ones too, like 10 by 10 you can get. If you know you're not going to use a lot of sprouts, it's best you get the smaller tray so that you don't have a lot of sprouts growing and you waste it. Okay, so you need good trays. So these are the trays that we would use, but you also can use cafeteria trays if you like. Just get a drill and put some holes in there. All right, inexpensive. And if you don't have a lot of space, you can use these sizes. Or you can get the big one and you put some holes in there as well. And you can use these. These I learned how to use cafeteria trays when I was in California. That's what we grew. And in Puerto Rico, we use these full trays. And you need some type of catchment to catch water. Something, whether it's a big tray or you're going to put it in a sink or something to catch the water. Alrighty, so these are your tray, and I'm sure people have all kind of different ideas out there where to put your sprouts. You also need to have good soil. All the classes I've been to, back in my training, recommend potting soil. Potting soil, potting mix. We don't want to get the heavy ones that hold water. It will mold up, your sprouts your microgreens will get mold. So potting mix is what's recommended. Now this one is a blend, and I don't like using blends. I have another blend in my car, but it's heavy, and if you feel it, this is lighter than this, and you can feel it. But it's still kind of light, so I say let me try it. It's a potting mix I got from one of our organic stores out there. So I buy potting mix for my soil. You can also use paper. Now, usually when seeds are this small, most of what it needs will be contained within the seed. So sometimes it really doesn't matter what you grow on. However, the seeds would sometimes pick up some nutrients from the soil if you use soil. And I don't really do a second growth, but sometimes it will grow a second growth. But so if you, and I'll talk about adding stuff to the soil for the second growth. The first growth usually takes everything out of the soil, right? The second growth would not be as nutritious as the first growth unless you put some things in the soil. So I add some kelp powder to my soil sometimes. I generally don't do the second growth of wheatgrass. Sometimes I get a really nice second growth of the pea shoots, so I'll probably do kelp in that. And sometimes the sunflower seed will give me a good second growth as well. But typically we just use the first growth and that's sufficient. Okay, so back to the paper. So the paper method, you can use a paper method in your tray if you want it. And typically you just line up the tray with the paper, and then you soak it down, you cover it up. And this is, this paper doesn't have any bleach or anything like that. It's some type of eco paper, all natural. I bought it online. And then you just soak it down really well. The only problem with doing it this way, it dries out a lot faster, so you have to keep constantly wetting it. But if you don't have soil, like in the winter time, sometimes it's hard to get good soil. You can try this method and see if it works, right? Make sure you have to have holes. And you have to put it in something that drains. Now, let's talk about drainage. You never want your tray with the sprouts to be sitting in its own water. You don't want it like that. You never want it to sit in its own water. You want to elevate it a little bit. So what you would do is anything that you can find, you can just put it under there. Give it some elevation, right? So it would drain. Always do some type of elevation, okay? All right, so as we're on the topic of drainage, if you're doing the job, after you sprout your, you put your soil down, you put your seeds down, and I'm gonna demo it in a minute to show you exactly how it works. After you do all that, and your jars are soaked and they're ready to put to sprout, let's do an example. Oops, seeds will fall out this one. Let's try this one. You want a rack. I can take the soil off. Anybody have any questions on soils? Put them here. Okay, so now you need to drain your seeds, drain the water so that air can flow out of it. You can do it many different ways. I saw these and I'm all about natural, and I bought them. I have about 2 or 3 of these. You can get plastic racks. You can do, you know those is a drain boards in the kitchen where you put your dishes, the flat ones. You can do that as well. So you rinse your seeds every day, and we'll talk more about that. And you put them here. You rinse them. You put them here. You always want it on a 45-degree angle, so air, just flowing air in there, right? Okay. So this is, and it folds up flat when you're not doing anything. And these get a little moldy times, so you probably want to spray it down with a some type of hydrogen peroxide to clean it, or vinegar. And also, after you do every batch of seeds, you want to make sure you wash your trays very well, because you don't want to contaminate your microgreens. They can get moldy and things like that. All right. Now, let's go back a little bit to the seeds for a minute. So say you had your seeds, you put them in your jar, you put your water, and you're rinsing them every day, and they start sprouting. If you put too much seeds in this jar, it will break it. I've gotten up a couple mornings and saw my glass broken. It will break it. It swells so much, it will pop the jar. So sometimes if I catch it in time, I'll just pour it in a colander like this, and then just let them sprout. So that's what I had to do here. I took out half of it. And I put 2 cups in here, and that's what happened. Only 2 cups. And this was just 2 cups. I had to take half out and put it in here, and that's what happened to it. Now these are still struggling a little bit here. Okay. Let's talk about seeds some more. All right, so the ideal seed to put in the soil is when the shoots are like that. They're just kicking out. When you wait for them to get this long here, they start tangling up, And when you start to separate them, they break, it just damages the seed and they die. And you may get mold, so these are oversprouted. I just had to untangle them today. They're oversprouted and ready for the ground. You could probably make bread with these, I guess. These are also oversprouted. You see how it's dangled up in the jar? Now what I do if it ever happens like this, I fill the jar with water, let it soak for a little bit, pour it in a container, and then gently massage it in the water to get them untangled. That kind of reduces the tear on the seed itself for that. All right, I said a lot. Let me stop for questions. Any questions so far? Before I get a little deeper into this.
I just want to know the bags that you said you hang up when you're like at a hotel. What are they called?
Milk bags. Some are called milk bags. Some of my milk bags, like this is my milk bag, and this is a sprouting bag. So you can, anyone works, sprouting a milk bag works. So yeah, this is my milk bag to do turmeric milk drink. It's yellow. So yeah, any works. Any kind of those bags work. Any other questions before I keep moving on? All right. So I think we should dive into an actual walk through the life of preparing a sprout, putting a sprout into the ground. Okay, so what shall I go with first? I'm going to use my, I think 15 by 15 tray. So for this one, I need the trays. All right, so I'm getting ready to grow. So I need 2 trays, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Okay. All right. What else did I say I need? I need seeds, right? So let me put, I'm going to do the wheat berries since they're like popping through the jar. We need some, I'm going to use gloves today, but you don't need gloves. You need to connect with the soil. Okay. We need some soil. What else we need? I got water. All right. Anything else I need? Did I miss? Let's put some kelp in there too. Make it more nutritious. I think we're good. All right, so I'm going to start from scratch, go a little bit over the seeds, and then show you how I do what I do. So I try to schedule my seed planting with my schedule. So usually I'm off on Fridays. So I kind of put my seeds to soak, say like Tuesday. I clean my seeds, I put them to soak on Tuesday. Now that chart I showed you, wherever the chart is, right, it has like specific times to soak certain seeds. Some are 8 hours, some are 12 hours. But I don't have time for that because I'm working. So I put my seeds to soak overnight. All my seeds soak overnight, except buckwheat, because they don't like a lot of water. I soak all my seeds overnight, and when I get up the next morning, I rinse them off. Okay? So I put all my seeds in I clean my seeds, put them in the jar, put them to soak overnight. Put them to soak overnight, fill them up with water. I want to show you exactly what I do. Hold on. I can dump this in here for now. All right, let me show you exactly what I do. Let's take these pea shoots since they're out already. So I'll get my seeds. I would measure them out. So for pea shoots and this tray, this size of a tray, it would take about 2 cups of seeds, right? Right? This one may take a cup and a half. And if you get this one, it may take a cup and a half. And if you get the 10 by 10, that'll take about a cup of seeds. The seeds expand, so just be mindful. And eventually you will get it. You may do too much one time, too little bit another time. But eventually you will get how much seed. But typically I use 2 cups on this one. So I get my seeds, my 2 cups. Yes. Well, if you do the 1 cup in this tray, No, it wouldn't, but it'll be spaced out. You can count once, you can count each sprout. Or if you do half, you're just wasting soil, you know. So you can probably do 1 cup in this little one, you know, like that. Or in the cafeteria tray, 1 cup, maybe going there, you know. You wouldn't mess anything up, but you'll just be wasting your material. All right, if you had a measuring cup, you could measure. But my jar has a 2 cup ounce measurement there. This is how we use it. You don't have to get this. I just happen to have it, so it came in handy. And are my 2 cups yet? All my cooks in the house? Look, I took exactly 2 cups. Okay, perfect. All right, we don't want any getting away. All right, so that's my 2 cup. Just pretend I cleaned my seeds before. I should have cleaned it. I put it in here, I would clean it. Take out the broken ones, take out the ones that don't look good. All right. And I'll put my seed in here. And then I want to wash my seed. Wash it. Sometimes, if you can, I put like a little bit of hydrogen peroxide to take off any fungus or anything that's already growing on the seed and wash it really well. So that's why if you put it in a bag, you can kind of gently kind of swish it and wash it good, and then you can put it back in the jar. So I wash my seeds first. So pretend I wash the seeds. And then once I wash the seeds, I fill up the jar with water. I fill the jar with water. And then I cover it with my cover, whichever cover you desire. What is this? What is this? What is that? Whatever you like. And I let this sit overnight, or if you're using the chart, you would let it sit as long as the chart says, right? It sits overnight. I wake up next morning. Now, if I'm working, say on Tuesday, and I put in the water, put this Tuesday morning, I would like about mid-morning, I would throw the water out, put fresh water in there. So throw this out, put fresh water about mid-morning, and then before I go to my bed, I throw the water out, and I can put it to sprout. If I do it in the night, I soak it in the night, it will probably just get 1 rinse the next morning. You know, it's better to rinse it as much as possible because you're trying to kind of mimic nature, right? If these seeds were in the ground, what would wash them? The rain. And there's a coating on here that the Lord put on this to prevent the seed from just sprouting when you put it on your table. So that's why we're rinsing it and washing off that coating. We're trying to mimic nature, the rain. All right? So I get up next morning, I will throw my water away, or you can put it on your plants in the garden. So I would throw it out, and then I would rinse it with more water, and I would throw it out, rinse it with more water and throw it out till it looks nice and clean. And then I would get my rack or your kitchen dish rack or whatever rack you have. And then you have to put a tray under here so the water would drain in the tray. And this is how I'll just line it up. I'll just line it up. And then, so that's Wednesday. So during the day, Wednesday, as I work, I'll take a break. I'll come, I'll rinse my seeds out again, put it back here. Some people like to cover their seeds to mimic it, the seeds being underground. So you put like a towel over them to mimic the darkness, you know. Yep, you put a towel over them, you mimic the darkness, you wash them out, and you know, keep them, and then you'll start to see they start to sprout. You don't want them to get like these too much. When they start kicking out like that, they're ready to go in the ground, okay? So that's the whole seed part, right? Any questions on that? Yes?
What's the purpose of rinsing them? Like, what does rinsing the seeds every time you put it in
So it mimics nature. When you put a seed in the ground, the rain comes and it washes off that coating the Lord puts on there. And then it takes a while before you can see that little baby shoot in the dirt, right? So it's the same thing you're doing. You're washing it off. You're washing off whatever is on there so that the seed will start sprouting.
Okay.
Right? Any questions? Good question, though. Thank you. No? Okay, so you do that for all your seeds. Again, they may have different soaking times, but that works for me. I so put them at night. I get up next morning and I put them. I'm ready to go. But if you're home all day, you can measure. Some takes 8 hours, some takes 7. Only buckwheat growths, they don't like to soak for long. They're like 25 to 30 minutes buckwheat growths because they get really slimy and it kind of kills the seed if they're into water for too long, right? But so that's what I do and that works. Okay, so once your seed starts sprouting out, you don't need this anymore unless you're starting your next batch. And you know, the thing about it, when you did your 30-day raw food challenge, this would have been really great. And we can do it, we could do another challenge again. And now that you learn about sprouting, you can incorporate that into your challenge. And then this is like powerful nutrition. Things that change with the sprouting. And I'll show you, when I was in Puerto Rico, we made an energy soup that we would drink every meal. We had the energy soup. It was from all these sprouts, and we had it every meal, just to give you all that protein, to give you the different vitamins and minerals and stuff like that. So it's very nutritious. Okay, so our seed has blossomed into beautiful sprouts, and now we want to transform them into microgreens by using soil. Okay? Sometimes you can pour your seeds into a tray, a colander. It gives you more air flow and it's easy to wash. So you can buy these dollar store. This one is $1 in the dollar store. Look for cheap ways, inexpensive ways to make it happen. So now I'm going to prepare my soil to plant my my sprouted seeds. So as I said, I need my tray. Now, you don't really have to do this, but I'm going to do this to avoid messing up the floor because the soil will fall through the holes. I'm going to add a layer of paper just to avoid the soil because they would get soft. It would drain. It wouldn't stop the drainage. It just would prevent the soil from going through. Okay? It's not a requirement to do that. When you're home, you don't have to do that. You don't need a lot of soil. You just need enough for the seeds to grab onto. So don't fill this whole thing up with soil. You don't need a lot of soil. And this one bag, I think it gave me about 4 trays. Oh, that's a lot there. There's a measurement somewhere, but I don't follow measurements. I'm going to use my hand. You just want to make sure it's spread evenly. Right? Let's shake it there. Now I'm still seeing some of the brown. I'll put a little bit more soil in there. It's very light. Very light. Wow. You only need a really thin layer. You don't need a lot. Now, after I'm done with this, after I harvest my microgreens, I take the bed. It leaves a bed, like a very compact bed. I've used that in my compost. So I don't waste anything, and it breaks down really nice, and I get soil to do my garden. So, okay, so you want to make sure it's level. So you make sure it's level. And if you feel it's level enough, sorry there, you take this and you apply some pressure. Okay. All right, you apply some pressure. And let's take a little bit of the kelp powder. Why we want to put kelp powder there, do you know? Do you know anything about kelp powder? It's what? It has iodine, that's right, but it has a lot of minerals in there. So you're just adding more minerals to your plants. As I said before, a lot of the stuff that the plant needs to grow is contained within the seed itself, but it will pick up a little bit from the soil. But so you don't necessarily need to have this. Okay. Just put a little bit. But it does add a lot of, especially if you might use it as a second cut. Like when you do wheat berries, it will grow again. You can probably cut that and use that. Maybe you want to do, you have a cut and you can make a wheatgrass poultice from this second growth. People use it also for sinus, rinsing your sinuses. People use it as an eye wash, vaginal inserts. So there are different things you can do with the second growth if you wanted to do that. Okay? I'm just going to gently, I might have to press it down again. Let me press it down one more time. Okay. So now, before I add the seeds to the soil, I want to soak the soil. You can buy a little bottle, or you can get a nice little can that would gently release the water on the soil. But you want to soak it because we're going to cover this for a few days. So you want to make sure the seeds have just enough moisture in here to keep the seeds alive. You don't want them to dry out. Okay? Let me try to, hold on. Let's try the can method a little bit. Huh? You wouldn't be able to spread it even. Yeah, it'd be a little messy. This is pretty cool. Kids can help you with this. This is actually the can for my kids' gardening class. This works pretty well. I like it. All right. So now, as I said, we don't need the seeds to be this long. Just as soon as it sprouts up will be good enough to put on the soil. So you want to spread it evenly, right? Make sure you cover. You don't want it to be high in one end and scanty on the other end. You want to make sure the seeds spread evenly. Okay, I do have a little bit left there. See if we can salvage this one without damaging the seed. Any questions while I do this? Comments, concerns? Does it look like something you can do? Just try one type of seed and master that one. Even if you try one, you don't need to do all of these. You find one that you like. Oh, I have to soak these because my damaged them.
So the seeds don't need to be under the soil? They can just be on top?
Oh, we'll get to that in a minute. Yeah. But good question, though. Paying attention. Now, there are different ways you can do this, and I'll talk to you in a minute. But that's a very good question. People do sprouting many different ways. But the way I've learned to do it is, I think I get most of it. Make sure it's spread evenly. Cover up all the black spots. So you see, if you had done like 1 cup, it would be very spacey.
Can you tilt it just a tad bit
You can see it? Okay, hold on. All right. Okay. Dangerous. Okay. All right, so now you spread your seeds. You want to apply some pressure because you want them to go into the soil now. You want them to get in there. Not too much of a pressure, but you want them to get in there to establishing its roots and helping it to make up its mind what direction it should grow. If it should grow up, should I go to the side? Now, some people, some schools of thought will sprinkle soil on top of here because that's how seeds grow, right? It's natural environment. Some schools of thought will cover it with paper towels. I've done that too, and they all grow. Some people cover it with paper towels, you know. You have to spray it with water, and then you cover it with paper towels. You're simulating that darkness of the seed being in the soil. That's another way. And then some people put soil. One of these trays, I did the soil on top. I think this. I put the soil on top, and I grew out that way. Was it that one? I think it was. Yep. No, it was this tray. You see a blue stag here? No? Okay. You can put the soil on top as well. But the way I learned it, and I've seen it used in all the places that I've been to, so you put the pressure on it to sink the seeds into the soil. You water the seeds as much as you can because you don't want the ends to dry out. Okay? Let's do this with the watering can. You don't want the water to be too heavy to displace the seeds as well. So you have to get your special little utensils right by your sprouting area so that you can have all you need. All right, so what we have planted the seeds. We're going to put the seeds to grow into sprouts, microgreens. I'm going to cover it like this. And I have done this with weights, like 1 pound, 2 pound weights, 3 pound weights. We want the sprouts to be strong, microgreens to be strong. So they're going to fight to come out of this dirt. They're going to be wanting to, and I'm telling you, you would see videos where they actually lift this tray up. And you know that your sprouts, your microgreens are strong because they will lift this tray up and push up for survival. So I put weights on this. I put like 10 trays of other microgreens on top here. And then they would lift up. So every day, you cover it like this. You put more weights in here as much as you can, I guess. You put a brick in here. And every day, you would take this off, wet your sprouts for about 3 days. You take it off, you wet your sprouts. And on the 4th day, now this is for wheat berries. Sunflower seeds, I think you have to go about 5 days. So on the 3rd day, you take this off, right? Actually, you would start seeing the sprout, the microgreens, starting to push this tray up. When you start seeing a gap, you take it off. The 4th day, you flip it. Do it this way. Still simulating darkness. And you put it there. Every day, you take it off, you water it. You take it off, you water it. These microgreens will start to push this tray up. When you see a gap, you don't need the tray anymore. Okay? You can do this. Oops. Okay, so these are not wheat berries, but this is how it will be. So see the space? There's a space there. Okay, so it has pushed this up, right? So that's how it will look, but these are pea shoots like that. Okay? So they are healthy, they are strong because they pushed out for life under pressure. Their stems will be stronger than the regular microgreens that you buy, and they'll be very healthy. So now you don't want to put them in sun because they will burn. You don't want them in direct sun. You want them in indirect light. So you can put them by your window, but if the sun is coming in really strong, you may have to put like a share curtain or something just to break that sun. But you want them in light, because what will happen, they'll start looking for light, and you'll see them, they'll start to go this way. If you move the light this way, they'll start to go this way. If you move the light that way, you'll see they'll start to dance. And I actually put music. They grow really nice if you put music, or you speak to them every day. They grow absolutely wonderful. I mean, try it. Sing to them as they grow. Now, and the leaves will start turning green. These I uncovered this last night. And I put them, they were still yellow this morning when I got up, and they turned green this morning while they were in the car driving. They haven't opened up as yet, but they will. But they will get green. Now, with the wheat berries, the wheatgrass, and I was hoping to have wheatgrass, but I got the seeds late. But with these, in 7 to 8 days, you'll have wheatgrass to cut, to use. And you cut all one time, and you can store it in the fridge. The best thing is if you can use it right off the tray, but I know sometimes we won't get to use all of it. You'll have to have a system in your mind. So if you're doing the 10 by 10 trays, you can have, and you use 1 10 by 10 each day, you can have, so you do a tray a day, you have 7 10 by 10 trays. So that way you're just eating right off the tray, right? But then you have to stagger when you put your seeds so that it doesn't they don't overgrow. You can't put all the seeds down one time. So if Monday you set these, Tuesday you will set the other one, Wednesday you'll set the other one. So you have to kind of work out your schedule. So that way you're just cutting off your 10 by 10 trays. Those are smaller, and you will use a 10 by 10 in one day. If you do 2 ounces in the morning or 2 ounces in the afternoon. But like me, I think I could do the 10 ounce tray for breakfast. Because I do more than 2 ounces. Most people can't. They get nausea until you build up your tolerance for wheatgrass juice. All right, so it's like this now. On day 4, it pushed up. Now you can keep spraying it and watering it until you get to day 7 for the wheat berries, right? Now, they're still soft, so I wouldn't hold it here. They're not really, the soil isn't really tight. So if I pull it, it will probably break. The soil is still, but you would know when these are like ready to harvest, you can't separate the soil. It will be very, I guess, bounded up or wrapped up in there. Let me see how this one is. They went in the same time, so they're about the same thing. Yeah, the soil was separate if I pulled them from there. Now, there'll be at a point in time where you can actually pull the mat up and then just spray the mat underneath the roots to make sure that they don't dry out. Don't give them too much water. They will mold. Just make sure they just has enough moisture. All right, and next thing, once your sprouts get like this, you want to find a place that they would hang out until you're ready to cut them. One of the problems that people get with microgreens is mold growing up between the microgreens, each one. You will get mold if you have the broken seeds in there. You will get mold if there's too much in the tray, and if there's no airflow. The biggest one is the airflow. So to help with airflow, you can buy a desktop fan, or fan, any kind of fan, or if you have one in your room. You don't want the fan to be moving the leaves. You just want enough airflow in the room for the air to go through. So if it's too close and it's moving the leaves, move the fan back. And also, these grow best between 65 degrees and 75 degrees temperature of a room. So if it's too hot, you may have some problems, you may have some molding. If it's too cold, it probably won't grow well. So you just want to make sure that your room is the right temperature. You're not going to put it out here on your back deck where it's freezing. It's not going to grow. Or if it's too hot, you would get molds, that kind of thing. So your kitchen is a nice place, or some room in your house that's nice. You can put it there to grow. What else am I missing to tell you? And okay, so let me just talk about these. These are sunflower seeds. This is not the one you buy in the grocery where you eat, right? Just a shell on here, okay? You have to take it off. So these would take between 12 to 14 days for harvest, okay? Wheat berries would be about 7 days to harvest. Pea shoots about, I think they do the same, about 7 days as well, the pea shoots, right? And you would learn, if you're interested, you can go online and search these out, compare, make sure it makes sense, you know. After a while, you'll find your rhythm and you'll start growing your own things. Okay, let's move on here. So these are some, so this is the same one. They start at the same time. These are your sunflower seeds. Normally, they'll be thicker here because you can still see some of them hasn't really unfolded as yet. This is the one I grew in paper, just pure paper. You know, so you have to keep wetting this if you do paper. It will grow, but you need to wet it. This one, I put soil in here. The tray has holes for drainage, and I use soil. It's dry, I need to wet it. And then this one, I think I actually put the seeds down. I can't find it. And then I put a little bit of soil on top, and this is this one. And this should be fulled out and nice and thick. So it's still early. I think we still have, and the black shells, they would eventually fall off. Don't even worry about it. They'll just fall off. They get nice and big and fluffy. These take about 14 days. So I think I I put them in on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So we still have some time to go. The same thing with these. These went in Tuesday. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So about Monday or Tuesday, these will be ready to harvest. You know, because they're about 7 days. I think that's it with these. What else I need to tell you about them? If you're going to store them in the fridge, you cut them from down in the stem, the bottom here. And then you store them. You make sure you don't store them with water. It will mold in the fridge. You can actually get this paper and get a nice big container. That's what I do. I lay them in the bottom of the container. And when I cut my sprouts, I put them in the container, and then I put another layer of paper on top. That's to just take out the extra moisture so they don't get moldy. All right? Any questions? Go ahead.
For these ones right here, where do you cut them from?
So these, you go as close to the base as possible. You want to cut them, you don't want 3, so you're going to get 2 leaves from these. From the time it starts making the 3rd leaf, you'll start losing, they'll still be good, but you're losing nutrition. You want to cut them when there are just 2 leaves on there, right? This is the highest point of nutrition. So say you're working on cancer or something, you want to cut them when there are 2 leaves. These started to come out 2 leaves, but they're still baby. But you want to cut them at between no longer than 12 days. These no longer than 12 days, no longer than 14 days, because you want the peak of nutrition if you're working on some type of sickness, if you're going to juice them, whatever you're going to do with them. And I'm telling you, you can thrive on, you could just do a sprout fast, and you can thrive on it. Thrive on them. Thrive on it. Any other questions? Make sure I covered everything I was supposed to cover for you.
Can you use a grow light? I know you said you can have sunlight without direct, and would a grow light be too much?
I've never used grow lights on mine, but could you dim it down a little bit? Is it hot?
So I use a grow light when I grow something in the house.
Mm-hmm, I know.
It's been really wet or hot.
Yeah.
I just put them under a light, and then I'll transplant them outside.
Do they have like different settings on it?
So not different settings, but they do have different strengths.
Yeah, do the lowest strength you can find on them. Yeah, don't, because they can get up to the strength similar to sun, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, we don't want that on here. Yeah, you want it a little lower because you don't want to cook them, because they're babies. Yeah. Any other questions? I'm just seeing if I left out anything for you guys. So there, as I said, there's a lot of studies on sprouts today. There are other countries actually using sprouts for breast cancer and DNA repair and all these different things. We're just not using it here in the U.S. in that way, and people aren't really, you wouldn't get a therapeutic benefit if you don't use it in a therapeutic way. So if you take 2 sprouts on a sandwich, it's not going to do anything. You know, if you take sprout juice today and sprout juice next week, it's not going to do anything. You have to be consistently taking it. It's nature. So you have to use it like how you would use medicine. The doctor says take the tablet 3 times a day. Take your sprout juice 3 times a day. If you want to get the therapeutic benefit from the sprout juice or the wheatgrass juice, you know, wheatgrass juice can be used for, it's like a superfood, you know, high in chlorophyll, DNA repair, high in vitamins and minerals. So it's here, it's available. If you have any questions about growing these things, let me know. Maybe one day I'll make the soup so you can taste the soup that we make. Doesn't taste like the lentil peas you had today. It's therapeutic, has no salt, has no oil, but it's very healing. Any other questions?
As far as all of the sprouts that you have, you need to eat them all raw. Do they have to be eaten raw, or?
Well, you can cook them if you want, but you would just waste all your money, right? Yeah, the benefit is you can cook it, but the benefit is from eating it raw.
So you're doing like raw soups and different things like
You can do blended raw soups, not cold, refrigerated soups, room temperature soups. Then you blend them, juice them, wraps. You can chop them up in a cauliflower salad. You can chop it up in a cabbage salad. What else you can do? You can make a smoothie with it, that kind of things. Yep. Any other questions, concerns? I'm just trying to see if I missed anything for you guys.
And all of the, like the broccoli and different ones, they have to be microgreens, right?
So microgreens, we could probably do another class on the ones that we don't use the soil for, like the broccoli. You can grow the broccoli if you wanted to as well and do it in the soil, but the seeds are so tiny, it's up to you however you want to do it. But yeah, the broccoli is really good. Broccoli is the #1 cancer-fighting sprouts that you can use, and there are studies out there that has been used. That is why it was John Hopkins tried to patent it, and that's why it's the most expensive seed that you can possibly get, because they know the therapeutic value in the broccoli sprouts. It has cancer-fighting nutrients in there. So you can imagine if you put a patient on that, just pumping them with that every day, a couple times a day, and let God bless the rest, God has put everything in the food that He has given you access to. We just need to be patient because it doesn't work like drugs. And we need to have faith that it works because all of these things have therapeutic benefits. And most of these drugs start off from taking some element from the greens or something, and then they mass produce it and add other things, and while they get a drug, you can take it from, and it's wrapped in fiber and its own natural fat and its own nutrients to do the things that God has intended it to do for your body. And our taste buds have been warped, so we may not enjoy a sprouted soup. We're used to salt and we're used to putting fillers in there, and we want oil and all that kind of stuff. But with time, if you're really committed to do it and you just try one at a time, maybe the wheatgrass, eventually your taste buds will change. Oh, I forgot to tell you, and I wanted to bring my juicer and I totally forgot. If you wanted to juice these, not any kind of juicer would juice them. You have to get I prefer to get a juicer that's specific for wheatgrass. So there's a manual one that would do the wheatgrass. Not every juicer would juice wheatgrass. It would just wrap around the blade or it might choke it up. So I bought my stainless steel online, like about $150, $250. It's manual. I stick it on the table right here, and I turn it every morning. I put a little cup under there, and I get the juice. Their electronic ones, probably a little more expensive, that you can just get up in the morning and send the wheatgrass blades in there and it would juice. The regular juicers may juice these sprouts here, depending on the type of juicer you have. I don't want to call any names, but any type of juicer names. But the more expensive ones, that's a slow auger, they may pick up these other ones. And some of them may do wheatgrass too. But if you're really serious about wheatgrass, you can get a dedicated wheatgrass juicer for this.
Well, if you get the manual, if you get a wheatgrass juicer, it will juice the rest of them crop. The chances that the rest of them can be juiced.
I didn't put them through my manual juicer though, so I don't know for sure. But if it says it on when you buy it, then definitely it would juice it. Any other questions?
Yeah, so wheatgrass.
Yes, ma'am.
So if you want to do I would get a shot of
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know if they were doing it like they were doing it, okay? And it was nasty.
And you got the shakes, right?
Huh?
Did you get the wheatgrass shake? It was nasty.
No, the shot.
No, but after you drank it, what did you do? Did you go this?
I just downed it.
And you was okay? Okay, so you're good.
No, I mean, you know, but this wheatgrass
Uh-huh.
juice, do you have to juice it just to get the shot, or you could just, how you make a shot from the wheatgrass?
The juicer. Now, there are times when I don't have the juicer, right? You gotta be creative. So I would chew it up, suck the juice out, spit the bite out. I don't have the juicer, where was I? But I had the grass. Or you could cut it up and put it in a blender, but you have to put some liquid in there to cut it up, and then you just strain it out. But it will be diluted because you added some type of liquid to get the wheatgrass. But you know, you get something, but the best is to have the juicer. That's just being creative when I'm somewhere and I don't have a juicer. Or I didn't feel to put the juicer up this morning. Yeah, it's very concentrated. Yeah, to get the shot. And I used to sell them 2 ounces. The only 2 ounces you need. I used to sell it. It's nasty, yes.
Yeah, it's been a few years that, because I used to do the wheatgrass, and I did mine in burlap,
Yes. Oh, I have burlap too.
and it came out good.
Yeah, you can do burlap.
I will get a dedicated,
Yeah.
but at Fresh Vibes, I would go there and I'd get 2 ounces when I was working.
Right up the street, right? Yeah.
And they'd give you a little slice of orange.
Or lemon to take that aftertaste out.
And then you have that, so then you don't have that
Nasty taste after.
That's an option.
Because when I was in this retreat in Florida, and we shared a room, so it was just me, another girl, and 2 other girls over there. And one of the girls, she used to do coffee, and she just had a regular diet. And well, you can drink as much wheatgrass. They have a wheatgrass house there. You can drink wheatgrass in the morning. You can bathe in it. You can just go in there and get wheatgrass. They ain't stopping you. Of course, you know, thing free. Hey, I'm drinking wheatgrass. But anyway, so she was drinking it, and she just couldn't get out of bed the next morning. She went into so much detox reaction. She was getting headaches. She couldn't move. She was shaking because it was just detoxing all that coffee out of her. She took a few days, and then she was fine. But she just couldn't move. She was she's just moving slow. She's getting headache, feeling horrible, you know. She had to stop everything for a while and just lay down. And she was doing enemas as well to get it out. But yeah, so go slow. You may not be able to do 2 ounces. You may be able to do half of 1 ounce. Just go slow until you build up and to take the wheatgrass drink. Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah. Now I know they sell powdered wheatgrass juice. It's convenient. Now if I'm traveling, I would buy a good brand. You want powdered wheatgrass juice. I must say juice. Because they would powder the grass itself. You get nothing from that. You don't want powdered wheatgrass. You want powdered wheatgrass juice.
How long does the powder last?
Depends on how you take it. Like I have this here. Well, this is a whole mix-up of, but it does have other things in here. But the wheatgrass juice is in here. It's a powder. I get it from a nice company. They do really good stuff. But it's a mixture of sea vegetables as well, like kelp and spirulina with it. But it lasts as long as you would take it. So when I'm traveling, like I go to the islands and I don't have wheatgrass, I will go with the powder. Yeah. Any other questions? I'm just seeing, make sure I give you all the information I wrote up my head this morning here. And you guys have it. I think I told you as much as I can. Okay. Yep. Any other questions? You talked about the water filter, right? Talk about traveling. So don't let traveling, because I was so dedicated to this way of living, I didn't and I used to travel for my job, like more than I do now. I used to travel to different places because I was a consultant at that time. But I never let my job interrupt what I wanted to do. So I had a plastic chopping board, and I would walk with my jars. And before I go, I'd map out the stores around the area where I can get juices. And I would plan my travel. and not interrupt my stuff. And I would walk with if they sell wheatgrass juice there, no, I walk with my juice, so I can keep doing my thing. You know, don't say like, okay, I'm going to wherever for 3 months, I'm not going to do anything, you know. You can walk with your seeds and sprout them in those bags, you know, and take them with you. You may not be able to get this, but you can actually sprout lentils, mung beans, some of your nuts and seeds, and you can walk with those things, and you can make a salad with them. You could blend them up if you buy somebody and they have a blender. You can blend them up with vegetables and some nuts and make a pate, just to get the sprouts in. I know it's a lifestyle, my sister. I mean, you don't have to do all of it, but you can add something to your diet. And that's all I have. I don't think I missed anything. I know it's a lot of information. Lots of information. Hard work, you think? Hard work? You think it's hard work?
Yes, a lot of work.
Just start with one, and then you would see. Now, because it looks like you, but you'll get your rhythm. I mean, I work, I do I teach classes, and I still get it in. So.
And you just went through it all as if it was one day, but it's not one.
No, it's not one day. So like if I'm gonna sprout, I'm just gonna work on sunflower seed, I'm gonna say, what day do I have not much going on? Fridays I'm off of work. Thursday night I go to bed. So before I go to bed, I put my seeds to soak. 2 cups of seeds. Next morning, I get up, having my breakfast, I rinse my seeds back on the tray. If I'm working from home, it gets a couple more rinses. If I'm not working from home, then it rinse when I get back in the afternoon. So I rinse it in the afternoon. The next day, it goes overnight. I get up, before I go to bed, I rinse it again. It takes a minute to rinse your seeds. Get up the next day, you rinse them again. It starts growing something. Maybe Friday, if you're home, you can put them in your soil. And meanwhile, you can prepare your soil. And then maybe Friday, you just pour the seeds in there, spread them out, and do what I showed you. Cover it. Saturday, you can wet it. Sunday, you wet it again, and then it's ready. Like, you know, that's all. You have to kind of work it with your schedule. If you started thinking it's difficult, then it won't happen. You have to work it with your schedule. I mean, like, I do detox while I'm at work. You know, you go to the bathroom all the time. And I go to the bathroom all the time, but I'm making sure I'm sitting right by the bathroom. Right there, it's right there. And I plan it, you know, think about your schedule and plan it with your schedule and make it work for you. You know, that says just do 8 hours soaking. I don't do 8 hours soaking. It gets 12 because I go to bed. I'm not going to sit there waiting for 8 hours, and then it's at 8 hours in the middle of a meeting, I have to leave the meeting to come and pour the water out. Not happening. So I do it at night. While I'm sleeping, it's soaking. Next morning I get up, I go make breakfast, I rinse it, and it's working with my schedule. I get up in the morning, it's ready to go in the ground. The tray is there, the soil is there, I put it there, bam, cover it. Next morning, I get up in the morning, wet it. Next morning, and if I'm available in the afternoon before I go to bed, I wet it again. So it's working with my schedule. You know, I'm not taking a whole day dedicated to do it. And I mean, I do a lot, so I may take all of a Sunday, but if you start with 1 tray or 2 trays, you don't have to be slaving all day doing it. What'd you say? What'd you say, my sister?
I said, but your mind is on it all day.
Well, not really, because I'm working, right? But when I go in the kitchen to get water, it's right by the kitchen sink, and I just water it while I'm drinking, you know? So you got to just think about your schedule and fit it into your schedule. I'm not going to say I'm going away on vacation and I leave. Well, I tell you one time, I started these one time and I went away for vacation and I'm like, oh my God, I didn't want my trays to that. I put them in the bathtub with water. I get back and there were trees. And all the water was gone. I can't eat it. There's like overgrown trees in there. I tried to save them. But you know, you work with your schedule. All right, so, well, that's all I have. If you don't have any more questions, thank you so much, and I hope that it doesn't scare you. Normal people don't have all of this in their kitchen, right? You just need to go to the store and get 2 trays, a jar, and keep it simple. I just have all of this because I have people come to my house sometimes, and I do detox with them, and I just feed them wheatgrass and sprouts, and I used to sell, and I do classes. So I have on, and I grow for myself. So I have all these trays, and it's over years. I've been doing this for years, not just last month or last year. So I've accumulated stuff. I've tried different ways to grow wheatgrass, and and I love it. But if you just want to just have something to do a little bit every day, you could just have 2 trays, and 1 bottle of this, and 2 of this, or 1 of this, and you're good. You don't need to have a farm. All right, guys. So thank you so much for coming. I appreciate your time and your attention, for being here. And if you have any questions or concerns or need to know what to do and how to start, feel free to reach out, call me, ask a question. Because I'll tell you this, you know what's happening in the grocery stores, right? Do you think the farmer is really thinking about nutrition when they put those food in the ground? There's profit, right? My least input for maximum benefit. Do you think they're taking time to use organic soil and they're going to clip? No. Unless you find there are some small companies that do microgreens that care, but still they're trying to make profit, right? But this is inexpensive. This is your food, your nutrition. Take your health into your hands. Be proactive. You get iron from this and all these different things. If you're feeling sick, take a wheatgrass shot or something. I mean, you put energy into other things. You can put energy, just 2 trays or 1 tray, and just start. And then if you can't, there's some companies you can buy from that sell in some of those grocery stores up there that you can trust. You can augment what you do with buying some if you want to, But I'm telling you, there'll come a time when we can't afford stuff in the grocery store, and I'm already seeing it already. And the food that we get is not that nutritious. So people are getting sick and they think they're eating healthy, even organic, what they're growing. So take the responsibility into your own hands and just throw 2 trays in your kitchen and grow something. All right. All right. Thank you so much for your participation. Thank you.